This is Laura Vanderkam. I'm a mother of 5, an author, journalist, and speaker.
And this is Sarah Hart-Unger. I'm a mother of 3, a practicing physician, and blogger on the side. We are 2 working parents who love our careers and our families.
Welcome to Best of Both Worlds. Here we talk about how real women manage work, family, and time for fun. From figuring out childcare to mapping out long-term career goals, we want you to get the most out of life.
Hello and welcome to Best of Both Worlds. This is Sarah Hart-Unger and I am flying solo today. Laura is doing lots and lots of book promotion work for Tranquility by Tuesday. And since we have such an amazing guest today here to talk all about the holiday season, I told her I would handle this one on my own. So she will be back definitely next week. In fact, you will get both of us in the same space since we are going to be doing a little live recording session together. So I promise we'll be back with much more Laura next week. In the meantime, I wanted to introduce our guest and our topic. We're going to be talking all about having a less stressful holiday season. As you probably know, if you're a regular listener to this podcast, Laura celebrates Christmas, we celebrate Hanukkah, and both of us often have a lot of different types of challenges in terms of lots of family that wants to be visited. Josh and I often have to work for parts of the holidays. I actually don't have any call for this holiday season. My husband is covering a lot of New Year's actually. So there's always quite a bit of a juggle around just making sure we do fit in some fun and relaxation. And I'll admit, in past years, sometimes, especially those days the kids have been off from school and I've had no childcare, have felt like a big slog that I had to get through. And let's not forget, holiday season 2020 to 2021, our family got COVID smack in the middle of it, back when COVID was like a fresh new thing, and that was kind of sad. So anyway, I have high hopes for 2022. We have a really good mix planned of travel and work-free days and even some creative childcare solutions that I'll talk a little bit about when I get on the main part of this episode with Jessica. And I'm putting less pressure on myself this year. At the same time, I find that my kids are a little bit older and some of the things that felt really, really stressful in the young years, like when I had toddlers running around, feel a little bit more fun. So if you're still stuck in that season where even bringing a dish to a
Vanderkam. I'm a mother of 5, an author, journalist, and speaker.
Sarah Hart-Unger. I'm a practicing physician and blogger on the side. We are 2 working parents who love our careers and our families.
Welcome to Best of Both Worlds. Here we talk about family and time for fun. From figuring the most out of life.
Hello and welcome to Best of Both Worlds. This is Sarah Hart-Unger and today, Laura and lots of book promotion. Since we have such an amazing guest today here to talk, I told her I would handle this one on my own. So she will be back definitely next week in the same space since we'll be back with much more Laura next week. In the meantime, I wanted to introduce our guest and our topic. We're going to be talking all about having a less stressful holiday season. As you probably regular listener to this podcast, Laura celebrate Hanukkah, and both of us have different types of family that wants to be often have to work for parts of the holidays. My husband is covering a lot of New Year's. So there's always quite a bit of just making sure we do fit in and years, sometimes especially school, and I've had no child through. And let's not forget, holiday season 2020 to 2021, our family got COVID smack in the middle of it, like a fresh new thing, and that was kind of sad. So anyway, 22, we have a really good mix and work-free day creative childcare solution when I get on the main. And at the same time, I find that my kids are a little bit older and some of the things that felt really, really stressful in the young years feel a little bit more fun. So if you're still stuck in that season, insurmountable, because how are you really, really challenging when they're little and when there are multiple of them, it probably will get a little bit more fun in the years to come, or at least that's been my experience so far. For a while, I actually discovered her when she became a member of our Patreon group, and then I took a deep what she does, and we decided, Laura and I, that she would be the perfect person to talk about planning and how to make your holidays perhaps feel a little bit more peaceful. Jessica runs family, and Jessica, tell us a little bit about you.
I live in Oak, spend my time home, as parents or lead at work, do that with more joy. I think we all need a little more.
What is your kid situation and how old? I know you have currently.
They 8th grade and 3rd grade this year. And it is the season that we're in. They're pretty fun at this age. And we have that connection.
No way. Is Cameron. We were just talking about him, Cameron. Cameron's always a nice guy. So That is awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's dive into how episode is airing in mid-November. So about this, and hopefully we're not too easier for them. Your holiday planning. How are you?
It kind of depends on, we've got the winter holidays. In our family, we are celebrating Halloween, Thanksgiving. We celebrate Hanukkah, so we are often kind of luckily ones. Obviously, then we have New Year's as well, which if we're going to do it, think about that in just to my family. And if the flight's under control, we're thinking about travel, but they're trying to have every year in October and I don't get it all done in that day, but I love to kind of kick it off. So the idea of the day with like either some tea or hot chocolate and like my laptop and like brainstorming all them is just, there's nothing better for me. That's like the best way.
Before on the podcast, do you have a specific process that you use to divide up holidays between your family and your partner?
We don't. I mean, if I looked, I could probably tell you that it's so nice to stay home. So we had my parents come out to us before, and another mom, just Christmas is like a big deal for her. My in-laws, other times of the year when we also get to visit our nephews who live nearby. But it's actually in California, our families are in Mississippi and New Jersey. And so I know that if they were both a lot closer, like within driving the thing where we're like, having many hours for Christmas, not relaxing at all. It's nice to actually not have that really be possible.
Yeah, you're totally forced to pick because neither are near you. Well, why do holidays in a lot of us? I mean, I know that for most of us, well, just kind of magical, fun stuff. Presents just kind of fell from the ceiling. Anything. No one was booking any tickets. Exactly.
Honestly, I think most of the stress comes from either doing too much because of other people's expectations or and means to be experience. We see this idea on Pinterest or this idea on Instagram, and we think that can create so much stress. And I think we all fall into that. I mean, the things that I recommend is actually most important to you when it comes to the holidays. And things either completely go away, just absolutely drop them and say, we're just not doing, as it turns out, that much. Actually, my family doesn't like it. And we're just going to do it in a much easier way. I think you could have the holiday party where you're like curating the playlist and sending out, well, find a Spotify name that's decent, like from a store. Probably be just as fun, but I think that all of us can kind of figure out what am I trying to do at like an A+ Grand Slam level that I could just say B+ level because for example, holiday cards. I love sending holiday cards. I think it is just an absolute my year. Every time I talk to stressed about, oh my gosh, it feels like this thing they have to do. Well, I'm here to tell you, you can just not do it. Like you're an adult, you get to decide. You could just not do it. Or you could just do it for like the 10 people in your family that you think would be disappointed. If you have some labels, you could have one of those websites online upload for you. I'm just here to give people, that's where the stress comes from.
I honestly think timing has so much to do with it as well. I think if Thanksgiving and holidays were in December, we single weekend or evening, November to the end of the stuff. And that kind of takes away the fun because it's just an oversaturation. And it's so funny when you were talking, I was reminded that one of them out Easter cards.
I love that.
And fairly religious. And I think it means a lot to them. And I love getting a random card. Remember it more. It's not like, and this year we're going to send out Thanksgiving cards actually because we have a new address. And so I'll also be done with that before the mayhem of the season. So that's my answer too.
I love that. And idea that we have a handful of years ago, holiday cards in September, actually, for the election, because it was an important election to us. And one of the side benefits, I'm going to be sent out like it's time to save democracy card, or 'tis the season to save democracy, I think is what we named it. One of the side benefits was just not having to do it in November or December. It was lovely. Pieces that really matters to me is going to this tree lighting and doing this thing and decorating Amazon, whatever you care about, putting those on the calendar, things that you've got to do, like putting those things on the calendar. And then, what we're not going to do is go anywhere on this Sunday, because the day before is this big day of like holiday things. And we're just going to stay home and plan in rest, I think, is one way to make it be wrapping or purchasing or baking or something.
About related. Well, I want to hear yours as well, but one, and again, is childcare. And get off an entire 2-week stretch that our school-aged children are off from school, and then daycares are off much of time. I know my sister is already, because right now as we speak, she knows it's coming, but it's not always, you have to be careful, because if you plan too far ahead with a babysitter, then you can kind of like move if you're doing it months in advance. Have to work for part of it. And I'm working, as listeners know, I know together materials towards the end. They're mostly ready. Already booked the kids in camp and then the second week. I find that and often the loss of child. Of course, most childcare provides those times, which is also I usually
same. As a patient, and my husband has also worked we often actually did have time off ourselves when in that situation know that I don't speak for anybody else, but harder than my day job. Having 19 of is like you're like, that would be great. And so finding childcare where there's often lots of camps that are available. This is a little bit overstating camp that's run by a former teacher and love it. The local SPCA to meet some of and draw pictures of them. They're actually going back for the 3 days of the Thanksgiving break this year. Really excited about that. In Mississippi, and I Googled and found a camp there. Because of the year for travel, we are a week. And so we wanted them to have somewhere to go every day to have fun spend with the grandparents, but it's my parents to get, which is also once I had kids and the grandkids, typically the focus of the attention, but also it's really nice to just get to be with them. I like to hang out with them. Child giving permission for folks, even if you just say, holiday gifts, and I want to go shopping on this day, in childcare to make that so stressful. And I maybe look forward to it. Maybe I'm driving around doing a cafe with parts, and because you're not doing that and needing to also make. So I think to create more joy in eating.
I love your camp on vacation idea. And I so agree with the fact that the first impressions of kids get off and you want to send them to camp 19 days or 3 or 4 without you. And then you'll be like, oh, okay. I deserve that break. Right. And speaking of break, we are going to take a quick back with some more discussion. We are back. And so we talked about what makes things stressful. We talked about holiday. Jessica, what have you did from your holiday to-do list, or I guess your holiday to-don't list?
Is really important this time of year. Specific tips for me that come from things and realizing it was not. Last year, we had decided friends, which I love giving gifts. So there was one day when I had playing all around delivering gifts to people's porches, and I grabbed my phone and said remind me next November 1st to not give so many local gifts for them. And that popped back. Good reminder, past Jess. Thank you for reminding me about that. So in the past, I've written down notes for myself in my calendar, $3.99 for Amazon to wrap the gift from them. If you're ordering it and somebody can wrap it for you, because we all know that wrapping can be totally overwhelming, especially if you're all doing it all this year. We're in the midst of home, actually, around this time of year. And we love to go to the zoo. A lot of zoos do lovely at our local. So it's a tradition that I want to realize, end of January here. We don't need to do it in the middle of the 3 weeks where we're everything out of our house. So we are just going to be much less to do anyway. Saying no or just moving things, there's not always a million cookies. Sometimes we don't do it at all, or sometimes we just bake one type of cookie. Because I'm the kind of person who I can think, what am I doing? And then you're crying on the floor, why did I say I was going to do this and buy 33 containers? They're mad and I'm mad. And we have 6 more dozens. What are we even doing?
I feel like I'm almost in this season holiday cooking and grateful that what I have to do is make pie.
Nice.
I make a signature Thanksgiving pie, but family has grown to the demand has gone, and then 2, and now wow. So keeping cookie swap. Everyone can team up and pass them all back and forth.
That's right. And then you don't need to get any sort of catering. Totally for that holiday gathering. Just make it a potluck. Again, what are you doing at some like A+ level? How could we make this simpler, but still make it about the things that like the gathering, the celebration, the joy, without being.
I will say, delegate family holiday gifts. They need to take it over.
Nice.
I will also say, depending on the dynamics of your family, listen, there's a fairly good thing you need. Yes, giving gifts can take it to an excessive level. It's just creating more for the sake of creating stuff. How you could perhaps like charity exchange instead, or animal off of the Heifer International catalog, or soap that you know they're going to use up on. Like most of us don't. And sometimes having a discussion about that, both from a to-do list standpoint and then also financially, which we should talk about as well.
Yes, I totally agree. I mean, you said it all. And also not only just doing, charities or consumables or experiences, those are great gifts, but also there's a world in which you have family and you say, could we just not do gifts? We just spend time together. The rest of your family might actually love that idea. But what if they say some of them could say yes? You could just stop giving each other gifts. I'm excited to see you, and I will not be bringing you a coffee mug.
All kind of staff, or like, which is also pretty easy from.
Right. Yes.
Mentioned. Do you have a specific way that you either budget for the holidays or for the holidays? I'll tell you what we do, which is that, and I every single month of the year, so that when I get to December, money that I don't really feel about like just giving as staff gifts for our nannies, like kid gifts, etc., definitely takes the pressure off. Any tips or anything that you
exactly the same. We put in money every month, and then at the end of the evening for gifts. And the way to actually buy gifts so much, I have a keep track of ideas and something and how much we did just enter, and it hang about this much, and it gives her what us. We're not just include the cost of cards and stamps for them, and some other if we have any other big expenses like that, they can be a big expense, but that made it a lot easier so that we off the holidays is a credit card. So that's how we use it. I think just setting limits is when you're saying this is about how much we want to spend on. Oh my gosh, I just found the best gift I've ever found for this person. They are going to, sometimes you find that we're going to do that because it's just so great. Leave some room for expected, like what you're going to get invited to. That's how you can kind of leaving room, setting some budgets is how you can make it. It can be pretty stressful and certainly not joyful and easy when you're worried deeply about money.
Totally makes sense. As a teacher, other than wonderful thing to give teachers, because they deserve to be paid more anyway, and who doesn't like cash, what have been some of your...
Yeah, and this is really bag, right? So good. They even have some really good cut I'm planning to give this year. Hopefully none of the teachers of my own kids are listening. So that you could, it's kind of like a little easy soft-sided cooler to take around with you to like a picnic or something. To get personalized notepads with like the top, it'll say like Miss Cynthia, 100 pages of beautiful piece of notes on it, or drinkware. So you can, get like that's got, Mr. Munoz and have that and it kind of looks nice. So those are a couple of my ideas. This year, I'm thinking of with the bag, we have a really famous local ice cream shop and they sell jars of their chocolate with like a little jar. If all of this sounds stressful for anybody listening, I just want to give them $50. It's totally fine. They'll be thrilled. For some of if it gives you joy to think about giving these kind of permission to do that, and here's your permission. And trust me, as a teacher, none of to give them a gift. So if you don't give them anything, they will. Cameron's mom. That is not going to happen completely. And take that off your list. Ideas.
Well, we are down to. I will give you a moment,
okay.
And I'll make. So I recently went to Seattle and I was freezing, and I knew I would be freezing because I really don't have anything resembling a winter coat anymore other than this wool job from like pre-2010. Just can't. So anyway, I bought myself a down sweater. That thing is amazing. Everyone is wearing this. And it's also super warm and work like on its own. We're going to in the skiing snow on its own for that. But after day or like a late really with something warm, it is awesome. And it was so
awesome. I think mine, I've been thinking, we have a local exist around the country and they clean our trash. So they've basically trash truck. And so they lift them up and they like have sprayers that spray in there and get all the gunk out. And then they have dry, like sprays air so it all dries it. And then somebody comes around and like it does any little spray something that smells good. It is just money I could imagine spending because like, ooh, that's getting kind of gross that. But when are you ever a little splurge to spend money on? So I really like that service.
I hesitate to sounds like a treat.
Treat.
You and talking all things holiday. Can you find you and also about the little goodie you cooked up for them?
Oh, yeah. So I made a guide who are listening to Best of Both Worlds. So fun to be here. Instagram at Joyfully Manage. You can find the guide holiday seasons on my www.jessicaeastman.com/FREE, and you'll get it for free. That gives you some tips. Holiday season, more joyful, some advice overall, and allow you to plan what matters to you and kind of you can use it digitally. So helpful for this community. So this is my way to give back.
Yes, especially the fillable part. Thank you so much. And holiday.
You too.
It really does make me feel a little bit cozy and like I want to handle and bake something with cinnamon in it or something fun to talk. To answer a Q&A all on my own without Laura does not seem like it would decided opinion on one of your dilemmas. Read I don't want to say testimonial, but a happy story that a listener sent us some advice we gave her in the past panned out. So the rest is going to be me reading in her voice what she wrote to us. I'd follow up to let you all. I went full-time in May, and it has made my life more flexible during the work week with personal appointments, etc. It's amazing how much less rushed you are when you got that promotion and a nice. Another big change that we made was to hire a typical, but it just wasn't be squeaky clean for a few after spending 2 precious hours folding and putting away yet another pile of laundry and picking up. I decided that something needed to be done. I put an ad on care.com and we found a wonderful person or put away a single laundry item since she started, more peaceful and tidy. And I'm a person who needs to be more present with my kids' meals again. Just thought I'd bougie, let's be honest, those are her words, to have someone twice a week on paper, but it's actually quite affordable and has made a huge difference. Thank you so much for letting us know. I love this update. It sounds like a very happy one. I will point out that it never seems unnecessary when a possibly female half of a partner is doing those tasks for their partner who's working in a one-working, and yet somehow think when it is a great fodder for us to think about some more peace in your house. Keep the stories coming, keep the questions coming, ideas and vibes and cheer, and we will be back next week on making work and life fit together.
Thanks for listening. You can find me, Sarah, at theshoebox.com_shoebox on Instagram.
And you can find me, Laura, at Laura Vanderkam. This has been the Best of Both Worlds podcast, and life work together.